So at that time, what happened was I'm a postmodern deconstructionist, lesbian feminist, and I'm in my semantics class, and I had a little rupture. And that rupture was that a man started flirting with me, and I don't know that everybody needs to know this, but I'm going to tell you. And I was having some lesbian bed death, and I am. Well, you can probably tell I'm a woman. I got anyway a lot activated at one point, but I was a feminist, so I was incredibly dismissive of this man, and talked to him with a great deal of disdain, because that was what it meant to be a feminist at that time. And here he was doing a lot of feminist classes, because my semantics professor, who he had taught Zen in Japan, Dean Barland, just gave us all unbearable challenges. And so this man had said, I want to make great change in the world, and he's this white, good-looking guy, so Dean said, "Oh, great, take a semester of all women's studies classes." And so he was the only guy in there, and which I liked. He told me I was arguing with my lesbian bed death lover, and he said, sleep on the other side of the bed. And really, he was just so good at switching things up in such a way, because sleep is such a fundamental thing, and then to change sides of the bed, that's my side, but doing it in such a way that you really began to notice shifts, so what happened was, all of us in my activism world were deeply identified with what we were doing. And we were all honestly in a great deal of pain. And there was this feeling that we were, there was an aggression. And we weren't very nice to each other. And there were a lot of explosions. And I didn't know what to do. And this man who was flirting with me over here invited me to the Zen Center. And I remember, so I went. And I remember my knees broke. I remember a whole series of things. I remember, I'm very spiritually, I'm not a spiritually coordinated person. I'm just not, I'm just like, oh my God, I go to Nyingma Playul Temple in Queens, and you have to walk in, you have to do the prayers and get on the floor, and I just walk in and kind of sneak and go past, that's not my thing. That's not my thing. If you want deep level practice and devotion, great, but if you want forms and postures, I can't do it. And so I remember, I was just trying to sneak in behind him, and this woman said this really cool thing to me. I couldn't figure out which table to sit at lunch, and I just kind of froze, and she said, "Oh, it looks like you're caught between this and that." I think that was such a really cool thing to say. It stayed with me. And so anyway, I went and I sat, and this is what I remember. I remember thinking, well, first of all, I remember feeling like I was betraying all of my activist friends because I wasn't angry in that moment. It was I'm a great fan of Kuan Yin, and that energy just, oh my gosh, and it was like these cooling waters came on my burning fires, and I wasn't crying for my friends that were passing, and I wasn't crying for my friends who were sick, and I started crying. I was a bad activist, and then I remember just this feeling of there was so much congestion inside of me, and in that room I exhaled. This new reservoir opened, And all of a sudden it was like, I might not be that good at this yet, but I think this might be the reservoir I need if I'm going to actually continue the work and do the work effectively in the world.